welcome back to Twin Flicks, where we was here celebrating the magic of movies and physical media with you. Now, in just 3 days of filming this review on November 21st, 2025, Milos Forman's quintessential masterpiece, One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, celebrates its 50th anniversary. And Warner Brothers is celebrating its anniversary by releasing this 4K UHD presentation of the film in both the standard edition, and Warner Brothers has also released a limited steelbook edition. Now, One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest first hit Blu-ray back in 2008, and even though it had some problems, it was still the best the film has ever looked. To the point, at the time during my review back then, I said I don't see how this could look any better than it does right now. And Warner Brothers also released this beast of a box set. This is a limited edition set. Now, as far as the film, One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest has been restored with a 4K scan from the original 35mm negative, forming a 4K DI with HDR10 grading, no Dolby Vision on this, and preserving the film's original theatrical ratio of 1:8:5:1. Alright guys, so let's dive in and take a closer look at One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest on 4K UHD and see how it stacks up against the 2008 Blu-ray, which again, I said it looked great. So let's see if this 4K is really worth the upgrade. This is a stunning 4K presentation, not only with its striking image improvements from the 4K scan where age-related specks and debris have now been cleaned up, and the 4K looks cleaner and sharper. And I'll focus more on that under my 4K image quality review in just a moment. But first I wanted to take a look at the color reproduction. There are two areas to note between the 2008 Blu-ray and this new 4K UHD. With the 2008 Blu-ray, especially with interior shots of the institution, carries a slight green hue. And this is particularly noticeable with white walls in the background or white tiles in the background or even on the floor. For example, when Jack Nicholson arrives at the institution with that overhead shot, just look at the tiles on the floor, or during the scenes in the shower room. The white tile is affected by this green hue. Also affected is scenes with white walls in the background. And also the white uniforms carry a slight green hue. The 4K scan has fixed this, where the film now looks appropriately displayed with solid natural whites. Now the other area that I want to touch on is with exterior shots that have a blue hue, such as in the yard or when the group goes on the boat ride. I mean, you can clearly see the differences here. And this was not the original intended color design with either the blue or the green hue. In fact, I also looked at the DVD and it doesn't have this. So it was added specifically for the 2008 Blu-ray. The HDR10 grading widens the color gamut while respecting director Milos Forman's and his DP Haskell Wexler intended color palette, and is applied modestly. This is apparent right from the opening shot of the film during the main title sequence. The scene takes place at sunrise, and the 4K now accurately displays this with the warmer tones. The 4K scan and the HDR10 grading now breathes new life back into the film, and also the appropriate displayed creams, grays, greens, and the hospital's clinical whites, as we touched on earlier, that all look bolder, brighter, with some really nice vibrancy to it. While the 2008 Blu-ray looked fairly drab and murky. The 4K now reads much truer, that also looks tangible and taking full advantage of the HDR10 grading, where it does not attempt to pop colors unnaturally. Rather, the HDR is used as a tool to extend highlights and add dimensionality and some nice activity within the colors that also gives the image that realistic documentary feel that Milos Forman was going for. Saturation is handled better with the HDR10 grading, giving substantial natural warmth without looking overtly hot or artificially applied, and this especially helps with skin tones that retains realistic natural look. The image contrast is also handled judiciously, with enhancements further widened by the HDR grading, where contrast is heightened and is definitely improved upon compared to the older SD or HD masters. And what this does is it now gives midtones more depth with a natural look to the film. And most importantly, the HDR10 grading preserves the film's gritty documentary look rather than converting it to a more artificially glossy presentation or trying to make it look more modernized. And this is a true hallmark of this 4K restoration and the UHD release that aims for fidelity over flash. And another nice improvement here with this 4K is the black levels and shadows that are on full display with the HDR10 grading deepening its darkness and manifesting inkier, truer blacks and illuminating deeper shadows. This is especially crucial for scenes in the ward and the darker corridors that was shot under dim lights or other dimly lit scenes. Unlike the 2008 Blu-ray that suffered from bright and grayish blacks that also affected colors and detail level. The improved black levels and shadows on the 4K and with the HDR10 grading also helps in giving the film a stronger cinematic appearance. The 4K image stuns with a higher resolution, furnishing finer lines that elevate the film with the clearest and sharpest imagery than honestly I've ever seen the film look before on home media. And this was done without the use of AR sharpening tools. I also noticed the edges look tighter than the 2008 Blu-ray. The 4K scan does a tremendous job of cleaning up the image while also retaining all the natural qualities baked into the original 35mm negative, including those softer shots that are just purely the result of the original production and are not the result of a poor transfer, as I've unfortunately heard some claim it is. Considerably improved are the textural details in many of the close-ups without any digital enhancement or manipulation, where all the skin imperfections and textures are now more revealing. Backgrounds and set dressings remain active, even down to the intricacies of the costumes. It's now all much more distinct and refined. The image also has some excellent amount of depth and three-dimensionality that gives much more realism and tangibility that is a very nice improvement over the 2008 Blu-ray. Now, one area that I've had many ask me about this 4K restoration is about the grain field. Well, I'm very happy to report here that this 4K now preserves the natural film grain, appearing consistent throughout with a very pleasing natural 35mm appearance, giving One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest a true filmic experience. Alright, now let's dig into the audio presentation of this 4K, and Warner Brothers opt for a remastered DTS 5.1 mix that is a very nice upgrade from the 2008 Dolby Digital mix on this Blu-ray. This DTS 5.1 mix is struck from the theatrical re-release printmaster from 2001 that was supervised and approved by director Milos Forman. And there is a very nice difference here between the 2008 Blu-ray with the Dolby Digital and this new DTS 5.1 mix, where vocals remain strong and well prioritized. There is stable dynamic range that does add to the visuals, and the music and score sound more open with some nice fidelity. The mix also provides a richer, more extensive mid-range, revealing excellent clarity in the higher frequencies, and there's notable and appropriate bass levels, supplying the film and the film score with a better sense of presence, while the background information discreetly and smoothly moves between the three front channels. And I did notice a few atmospherics that do pan between the rear channels, which further expands the sound field. But I did notice at times it did tend to feel slightly forced or even sound a little unnatural for a film of this age. Overall, this DTS 5.1 mix is a much stronger and tighter mix that I was very happy with. Warner Brothers' 4K UHD presentation of One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest is a careful and respectful restoration with the goal of preserving the film's original tone, and they completely succeed here. This 4K is highly worth the upgrade and is definitely the addition to own. But now head over to the comment section and let me know, when you look at the differences here between a 2008 Blu-ray and this new 4K UHD, which do you think looks better? Again, head over to the comment section and let me know. As always, guys, thanks so much for hanging out with me for a few minutes here as we discuss and take a look at One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest on 4K UHD and compare it to the 2008 Blu-ray. As always, guys, keep physical media alive and stay tuned for our 4K versus Blu-ray comparison.
Twin Flicks presents 4K versus Blu-ray.